Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Thanks for tuning in to my second episode of Walks with Nons. I know it's called Walks with Nons because I'm supposed to be out there walking, but we just got back from walking. Just a bit of a disclaimer. I am not a doctor. I am not a physician. I am not a fitness trainer. I'm not a life coach. And the things that have worked for me and my results may not work for you. These are just my own testimonies, my own experiences, and my own journey that I'm going to be sharing with you guys. So let's jump right in. One thing that I want to say right off the bat is I am not out of the ordinary. Like, I am no different than you. I'm literally just a mom that dealt with a really bad postpartum experience and did something about it. There is no magic pill. There is no magic formula. Everybody's journey is different. This is just my own journey and what I had to go through. And I'm going to be straight up with you guys. I had to work my ass off. Point blank. There is, like I said, there is no magic pill that I was on. I wish. And there is no boot camp, none of that. I had to work my butt off. But something that I definitely want you to take away from this conversation is I had to work more on my mental than my physical. Like they do go hand in hand. But what I mean by that is I had a lot of barriers and limiting beliefs within myself that I had to get really real with myself. And it was very uncomfortable in order to change and to shift my mindset and to just break free and grow into the woman that I was supposed to be and who I'm supposed to be. I stopped making excuses for myself and I got up and did something about it. So let's kind of dive into that. How did that look? So after I fell on my butt so many times and tried going hard because I had this same like mental state, like I'm still this like young 20-something-year-old that didn't just have a baby. Like I didn't just put on 60 pounds. So I had to get real with myself. And though I didn't like it, I had to start off really, really slow. I couldn't even do a basic push-up, guys. I couldn't do a sit-up. It was really bad. My body was really, really weak. And it was a tough pill for me to swallow. And it was a very humbling experience. To be in that kind of vulnerability at the time was just very new to me, and it was just very humbling. And by starting slow, I walked. So I would put Tyler on the carrier, strap him to me, put Baloo on a leash, and we would go walk around the neighborhood. Did that. I would wake up really early and I would force myself, like as soon as I got up in the morning, I would do little things to make it so that I would have no excuses. So I would lay my clothes out the night before, and I would get everything ready so that it would just be like seamless. Like I don't have to really like work to do it. So I would start off walking, and then once I felt myself like getting a little bit stronger, then I moved over to Chambers Bay. If you're not familiar with Chambers Bay is a beautiful golf course in Washington that overlooks the water. They have a pathway which is all paved around the golf course, and it's 3.5 miles. Don't quote me on that though, but I know it's definitely 3 miles. The thing about Chambers is it's more of a moderate walk, just because it has some inclines, it has some switchbacks depending on which way you go. So I had to stop multiple times walking Chambers Bay. Like it wasn't an easy walk for me. And that speaks volumes about, you know, the way that I started too, is I had to take it really, really, really easy. And I would just make mental notes for myself. So it took me like probably like an hour and a half to finish chambers with all like the breaks that I had to do. And then like I started getting down to like finishing it in an hour, and like I would pick up my speed. I wouldn't have to take breaks anymore. And I started noticing myself getting stronger. And that's when I kind of made a mental shift and I started learning more about myself. And I really want you to kind of hone in on what I'm about to say now, because it's fucking beautiful. But I started not wanting my old body back to loving my body for what it is and what it does right now, that it was able to bring forth my son in a healthy way and it's able to move the way that it does. And I started loving on myself, loving every part of my body. That was the most beautiful thing for me, because I feel like for the longest I didn't love who I was and I didn't love my body. I started appreciating my body for what it was and where it could take me. And I started just investing more into myself and wanting to learn more about this new body, this new mom body, and what it's capable of and how far I could push it. And that was the switch. Is I started realizing that I've always known that I'm goal oriented, but I started realizing that I'm challenge driven. And I started getting really mentally competitive with myself. It was never a competition with anyone else but myself. And I started setting goals for myself and PRs for myself. Like, for instance, when I would walk chambers, I would time myself. I'd be like, okay, it took me like an hour to walk it this time. Let me see if I could like shave off a couple minutes or shave off 10 minutes. Or I started progressing, and I could show you guys my notepad, but like I have literally different PRs and different goals for different things that I would do. And that's how I would drive myself. Something that I used to do too is I would go for workouts outdoors. Like, that's how a lot of you guys have followed my journey. Is I started like during the spring and summer, so it was getting pretty nice out, and I would have my son with me, so I would just have him in the stroller and then work out wherever I was, at Chambers Bay, at a park, at a skate park. Sometimes I would go to a skate park because it would have like that pool where I could like put my son in there and he can't escape because he was too small at the time to learn how to like crawl out of it. So I had to get creative. And so I would do that, and I just progressively started to see myself getting stronger, and I stopped worrying about how much I weighed. Like that wasn't my focus anymore. It shifted to, I want to be stronger. I want to be mentally and physically strong. And I didn't care about how I looked. I didn't care about the scale and what the number said. And that was my main drive, is I wanted to be better than I was yesterday. And it was a fucking grind. It still is a fucking grind. Battling yourself every day is a fucking grind. And pushing yourself to your ultimate potential is a fucking grind. Anyone that is hitting new PRs, that is in the gym, that is just working on themselves physically, will tell you that a lot of it that has to do with getting stronger is mental. It all has to do with your mental strength. And I knew that early on, and I started to just drive my potential. I would hit PRs for myself in everything. I would go to Stadium. Stadium is a great workout because they're like huge steps. And you could literally just walk that whole bowl and get a really good workout. And so I would start timing myself, literally have like my set times on my notepad, guys. I would literally time myself and I would see like the progress of me getting faster and faster, being only able to walk it one time. And then like after like a couple weeks of going, like I was able to jog it. Like it was crazy to me, like how fast I was getting stronger, and just seeing the progression like lit my ass on fire. And I was just like, wow, this is fucking dope. Like, this is crazy. Like, I've never like pushed myself to that kind of potential my whole life. And that was my motivation, is just to be better than I was yesterday. And the past me no longer served me anymore. Like, I was so interested and so intrigued with finding out, who is this new Nans? Like, what can she do? What is she capable of doing? She's no longer letting like being a mom or any of these outside voices like affect her reality anymore. Like, it was just a beautiful experience that I went through, and I hope I'm making sense. But that was basically it, guys. Is like I made it a point to shift my mindset and to no longer make excuses for myself and get it done. And in that blossomed something just so transformational and so beautiful that that's the only way that I could explain how I was able to lose my baby weight. So I've always been interested in running. I've always loved like conditioning, endurance. When I was younger, I was in soccer. So picked up running, and I started timing myself that way. So I was like, how long or how fast can I run a mile, or how fast can I run 3 miles? Can I do a half a marathon? You know, like I did a half a marathon. And I just started just challenging myself in just different aspects. And a lot of people would ask me, like there would be people that would like stop me when I'm working out outdoors and like ask me like, hey, what are you training for? Or friends that I would meet up with for like, what are you training for? And like, I never thought about it like that. And I was like, I just want to be better than I was yesterday. Like there was no training for something. It was just a mental competitiveness that I kind of grew into, and wanting to see like what my true potential was, if that makes sense. So let's take a breath. Let's grab some water. I am no different than you. I am no one, you know, like I'm no different than you. And if I can do it, you can do it. So I hope that you were able to take some takeaways from this video, and I just encourage you to get started wherever you're at. Work on yourself. Start today. You know, a lot of people, they let fear dictate their outcome, and they think about not wanting to make mistakes or not wanting to fail. But honestly, welcome that. Failure and mistakes have to happen. It's all a part of the journey. And failure and mistakes is good. It's a good thing. When I fail or I make mistakes, I take a step back and I reassess the situation, and I come back, execute, and come out victoriously. I come out stronger, you know. So don't let those fears or those thoughts dictate your outcome or dictate whether you get started or not. So just wanted to put that out to anyone that needed to hear that. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys so much, and I look forward to you guys tuning in on my next episode with Walks with Nons.